I don't usually write stuff like this. I'm the kind of person who reads these stories late at night, scrolling through no sleep posts while eating leftover pizza, telling myself it's all just creative writing. I guess that's why I've been debating whether or not to even post this. Because if I read what I'm about to tell you, I think it was just another made-up creepypasta. Except it happened to me. And I still don't know how to process it. I live in a one-bedroom apartment above a laundromat on the edge of town. It's nothing fancy. The kind of place where the paint is permanently yellowed from cigarette smoke that seeped into the walls 20 years before you moved in, where the heater clanks and groans all winter long, and where you pray the neighbor downstairs doesn't run the dryer past midnight because the vibrations make your coffee mugs rattle in the cabinet. But it was cheap, and for a long time, that was enough. I work nights at a small printing warehouse about 20 minutes away by bus. My shift runs from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. The pay is not great, but I got used to the rhythm. Honestly, I even liked it at first. No morning traffic, no crowded stores when I did my shopping, no landlords calling to just stop by and check on something. When I got home after work, it was always quiet. The street would be empty, except for the occasional car rolling past with headlights bouncing off the laundromat windows. I'd climb the stairwell, unlock my door, and collapse into the couch. That routine became my anchor. Predictable, safe. And maybe that's why I noticed the difference so quickly. It started on a Tuesday. My shift had been slow. One of the machines jammed halfway through the night, and my boss decided we'd spend the rest of the shift cleaning rollers and reorganizing boxes. By the time 2 a.m. rolled around, I was exhausted in that dull, bored way that makes you feel heavier than usual. The bus ride was uneventful. I climbed the cracked stairs to my apartment, fished out my keys, and slid one into the lock like I had done 100 times before. Only this time, it didn't feel right. The key turned too easily. The usual resistance, the tiny catch I had memorized after years of fiddling with that stubborn old lock, wasn't there. It wasn't broken. Nothing looked out of place. But when I twisted the knob, the door gave way with less effort than it should have. Inside, everything was exactly as I had left it. Couch, coffee table, dishes in the sink. No signs of forced entry. I even checked the windows, which were still locked. But the feeling stuck with me. I told myself I was imagining it. Cheap apartments mean cheap locks, and maybe it had just loosened. Still, when I went to bed that night, I checked the door 3 times. The next few days passed quietly, but little things kept happening. On Thursday, when I pulled my mail out of the box downstairs, the envelopes were bent in odd places, as if someone had rifled through them. Nothing was missing, just shuffled. Friday night, I left the TV on before heading to work. I do it sometimes for background noise. When I came home, the volume was higher. Not blaring, not even enough to wake a neighbor, but louder than I'd left it. Saturday, I swore I heard footsteps behind me on the 2-block walk from the bus stop. They were faint, evenly spaced, and stopped when I turned around. The street was empty, but that's not unusual at 2:30 in the morning. Individually, these things didn't mean much. Together, they started to gnaw at me. The moment I stopped being able to shrug it off came a week later. I was fumbling with my keys when the door to the apartment across the hall creaked open. My neighbor, an older guy named Carl who worked early shifts, poked his head out. "You got company lately?" he asked. I shook my head. "No, why?" He scratched at his stubble. "Couple nights back, I thought I saw someone standing outside your door. Figured it was a friend waiting for you. But when I came out a second time, they were gone." "What did they look like?" Carl frowned. "Didn't see their face." "Just a hood. They were standing real close to your door, though. Like, right up on it." My stomach dropped. I mumbled something about it probably being a delivery guy, but Carl didn't look convinced. After that, I started paying closer attention. I kept my wallet in the same spot on the counter every night. One morning, it was on the coffee table. My jacket ended up draped on the wrong chair. And then came the night I'll never forget. I had just dozed off when a metallic sound jolted me awake. At first, I thought it was part of a dream. But then I heard it again. Soft, deliberate. The sound of my door handle turning. I I froze. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it would shake the mattress. The handle jiggled once more, then stopped. I sat there in silence for what felt like an hour, every nerve in my body on fire. Eventually, I worked up the courage to peek through the peephole. The hallway was empty. I didn't sleep again that night. The next evening, I slid a thin strip of paper between the door and the frame before leaving for work. Something simple. Something that would fall if the door was open. When I got home, the strip was gone. The door was locked. Everything inside looked the same. But my stomach turned when I realized someone had been inside and put everything back exactly the way they found it. I called the landlord the next morning. He shrugged it off, said the lock was old, and maybe I just hadn't latched it right. I even called the non-emergency police line, but they gave me the same speech. No signs of forced entry, nothing stolen, nothing they could do. I felt crazy, but I knew I wasn't. A week later, I came home to find the stairwell light burned out. The whole place was swallowed in shadows, the kind that make your imagination run wild. I told myself to suck it up and climb the stairs. Halfway up, I heard something. Breathing. Slow, steady, coming from the top landing. I stopped dead. My pulse hammered in my ears. For a second, I considered turning around and bolting back into the night. But the thought of standing out in the dark street, completely exposed, was worse. So I ran. Up the stairs, past the landing, key ready in my hand. I shoved it into the lock, flung the door open, and slammed it behind me. The silence on the other side was deafening. 2 nights later, I was already on edge, scanning every shadow on the walk home. When I reached my door, I saw it was slightly ajar. Just a crack, enough to make my skin crawl. I pushed it open slowly. The apartment looked normal. Couch, coffee table, dishes in the sink. And then I saw it. On the counter, where I always drop my wallet, was a folded piece of paper. With shaking hands, I opened it. "You should lock your windows." That's it. No name, no explanation. Just that sentence in messy block letters. I don't remember calling 911, but I must have, because 10 minutes later, 2 officers were standing in my living room. They checked the place, told me nothing was stolen, no forced entry, and that I should probably upgrade my lock if I was worried. I moved out within the week, packed what I could into a couple of bags, and crashed on a friend's couch until I found a new place. It's been months since then, and I'm still jumpy. I check locks 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a night. I listen for footsteps on empty sidewalks. I don't live above that laundromat anymore. But sometimes, when I'm half asleep and the house creaks, I swear I hear the soft rattle of a doorknob turning. And every time I close my eyes, I see that note.